Jenny, it's so great to see you again.
It's good to see you.
It's been a while.
5 or 6 months.
Right. Okay, so 6 months ago, we did a chakra clearing. And what benefit were you hoping to get out of our session?
I didn't know what to expect. I was hoping to feel less grief or fear or stuckness. Like any incremental improvement would have been wonderful. But then so many things improved. It
exceeded your expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, so then first, what was it like during the session?
I was really surprised that immediately your hand went to a spot and then a memory came up, and it was a memory of a traumatic incident that I had forgotten about. And so I let the feelings come up, and then sort of just intuitively I thought, I'm gonna give it a different ending. And then
like flipping the script.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I got to experience it, had the feeling come up and out and release, but then I got to redo it the way I would have wanted to. Like, I got to respond to the person in a powerful way.
Right.
And I think because the brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and what's real, that was really powerful.
So you got your power back.
Yes, I would say that. And then your hand went to the next spot, and there was a traumatic memory there.
With the incision?
Yeah, and your hand was doing this.
Yeah.
Over the spot, and I had had a surgery there, and I had forgotten.
And I've never done that before.
That's interesting. And I had forgotten about that surgery, and I had never realized, yeah, that was a traumatic surgery, because the surgeon was mean. He wasn't kind, gentle. It hurt.
You probably felt violated.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I felt violated, but I hadn't connected that, and so I got to, let that go. And then your hand just kept going to places, like your hand took my arm, grabbed my arm toward my wrist, and that's something my dad used to do. So I got to process that, and then there were just like bigger and bigger things, but your hand always went somewhere that was holding something, and I just thought that was nuts. And I didn't realize until just now, I think it went in order of my age.
Oh, interesting. Chronological order.
It did. It went in order of my age.
Wow. The first traumatic experience forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last traumatic experience was so big that I will be vague about it, but after we met, the week after we met, I felt, you said feelings.
You mean after our session?
After our session.
Yeah.
Yeah, not after we met. After our session, you said feelings would come up, and at first I was like, there's nothing else to come up. And not much was coming up, but boredom and like stagnation was coming up, and that's how I felt when I was a kid. So that really came up and released. And then I was trying to figure out, it seemed like there was a lost memory, like a memory that was locked inside from...
That you didn't have access to.
That I didn't have access to. And so I kept replaying things that happened in my marriage, trying to figure out something. And then I just said, okay, the work with you was so simple. There was nothing complicated about it. It just happened. I didn't have to do anything. So I said, okay, body, what have you been trying to tell me? And the answer came right then.
Oh, you started to listen to your body.
Yeah, I listened. So I asked, what are you trying to tell me? And the memory came, and that was it. I haven't been obsessing on it, replaying things, wondering, trying to figure out. And when it came up, a lot of fear, a lot of grief, a lot of, I can't believe that happened. There was, sitting in a park crying and just grieving. And I was afraid that I'd get stuck in that and that I'd almost go crazy because of how big it felt. Mm-hmm. But instead, it just passed.
Yes.
And what I've been learning since is the feelings come up, I let them come up, and they just pass. and it's become more and more effortless, and my therapist says I'm building stress tolerance.
And because you're willing to feel what you feel, it just moves through, and then you're done with it.
Yeah, so there's not that stagnated feeling of like, oh, I'm stuck because I'm really tight and tense and I'm trying to numb. I
Yeah.
haven't had alcohol cravings because alcohol would help me numb feelings.
Okay, so you're saying subsequent to our session, you no longer crave alcohol.
Right. I haven't had any relapses because I've been trying not to drink.
And before the session, how much drinking were you doing?
Well, once COVID started, it became every day, because I think my brain was like, home is where we decompress and we drink, and then I was home every day, so my brain was like,
Keep drinking.
we drink every day, don't we? And then but I didn't want to do that anymore. I felt sick.
But you didn't know how to stop.
I couldn't stop. The craving was so strong and just kept getting stronger. But I have no desire to drink. I don't think about it. It's like there's no reason to. I'm not trying to shut anything off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or I'm not trying to access joy by giving myself a substance.
Because it really doesn't.
Yeah, I feel much lighter. I just feel light. Like I can go for a walk and look at the trees and the birds, and that's a happy experience.
Because you're more present.
Yeah, I'm noticing things.
Yeah, because you're not so stuck inside of yourself.
Right, yeah, I noticed when I go for walks around my house, I'm like, I didn't know the mountains were that close. Wow.
It was right there.
Yeah,
all
because
the
I
time.
was looking at the concrete and in my head, trying to
yeah.
figure things out, trying to ignore sensations.
Right, and as long as you're in your head trying to figure things out, there's no way out.
Right, my therapist says to me, your somatic work, because she calls what we did together the somatic work. She's constantly referring to, once you did the somatic work and you got back in touch with your body, then we were able to break through and have progress and move forward in our therapy.
Okay, so even in your therapy with a PhD, you weren't making a whole lot of progress until you were able to get into your body and feel what you feel.
Right, and she does EMDR, so we did I don't know what it stands for exactly, but it's hard to explain. Google it. She does EMDR, and so we did some of that, but it didn't tap into the trauma the way the work with you did, because you went right to where I was holding feelings and memories, and in my work with my therapist, she's not saying something or triggering a memory of, remember that thing that happened when you were a kid? Let's feel that and explore it and release it and heal it,
But that didn't really help, being told to feel it and release it?
Well, she wouldn't even know to go there.
Oh, right.
But you immediately went there. Or, yes, the things that happened with my husband, if she were to say to me, okay, well, just let it go. It's like, well, how? But
I showed you how to let go.
Yeah, you did.
Energetically.
Right.
Not verbally. I did not go through the mind. I went straight into the body.
And it's not a mind thing.
Yes, I went straight into the body where those memories and emotions are stored.
Interesting. Yeah, because I had been trying to think my way out of, okay, what happened? But then I felt it. I went, what are you trying to tell me? Oh, that feeling I keep getting is this. Oh. And then there's no, okay, now what do I do next? It's just a really natural, it just happened intuitively and naturally.
Yeah.
There was no work.
It is effortless.
Yeah, and then the benefits just keep coming.
Unfolding. Because when you get the deepest layers, then everything that's on top of it sloughs off.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel a lot lighter, happier.
And you look different.
I was holding a lot of tension in my face.
Yeah.
Before, a lot. And my face was swollen. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's recap the benefits that you received from our session.
Okay.
Okay, so now you're feeling what you feel, and you feel lighter, and you faced some really heavy negative emotions that you've been holding on to for a long time.
Yes.
And even though it was painful in the moment, it just moved through, and then you were done with it. And those memories and emotions no longer have a hold on you.
Right, because I realized before I equated being pretty or noticed or attractive with getting hurt. And now...
Yeah, that was a limiting belief.
And now, I just feel like that doesn't have to be the case because I'm powerful.
Exactly.
Okay, so the other benefits, no longer craving alcohol.
That is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, you tell me why that's huge for you.
I mean, I went to rehab for that. I've been trying to stop drinking alcohol for years, and then now the craving is just lifted.
So rehab couldn't even help.
No, I got out of rehab and I relapsed repeatedly, and they said that's part of the process, that's normal. And my therapist said it really takes some sort of somatic work, getting into the body, connecting the mind and body. There's something there where that's where the magic happens and something gets processed. I don't have words for it.
And they can't offer that in rehab.
No, I did yoga while I was there. I did EMDR. There is a therapist there who does somatic work, and they kept saying, like, you need some kind of somatic work. And then we did our work, and my therapist was like, see, it's the somatic work.
Yeah. Okay. And the somatic work came to you.
Yeah.
You didn't even know that I did it.
Right. You reached out to me and said, oh, I could, I do work that could help with fibromyalgia. And I thought, how? Okay, I'll give it a try.
Because all of our physical functions in the body are run by our energy centers. It's run by our energy. And if we have suppressed emotions, those energy pathways are blocked. And so that affects the physical functions. And so there's a school of thought that believes that any physical symptom is traced back to something that's unresolved on an emotional level.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after our session, the alcohol cravings lifted, the grief came up and released, fear came up and released, certain memories I had been trying to access came up and got resolved. My back pain and my fibromyalgia pain and my brain fog have been not bothering me, and so I've been able to, I'm reaching out to people more, I'm going on walks, I'm exercising more, I'm playing with my daughters, I'm playing with my dogs.
You're able to connect.
Yes.
So it's enhancing your relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you say that with a smile.
Yeah. It's nice because I felt sort of
in your own world.
Yeah, and shut down before.
Yeah.
And scared. I felt really scared. I felt scared of picking up the phone and calling someone. I felt, I realized it went back to these things that happened in childhood. So I became afraid of, well, what happens when I interact with someone? And I don't feel that fear now. And my anxiety has lifted. I was taking medication for anxiety, and I don't take it now.
So you don't need medication for anxiety, you don't need alcohol.
No.
You're free.
Yeah, one session.
Well, yeah, one session. And not only...
Makes me giggle.
Yeah, because you're free.
Yeah.
So not only did it address not only did that one session address all those heavy emotions that were holding you down and controlling you and preventing you from having close relationships, it also alleviated physical pain.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And just tension, just the way I was holding myself before, like there was this armor and lots of tension.
You're protecting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
From what?
Right.
From an imaginary threat.
Mm-hmm.
And you were doing it to yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now I can just be present and enjoy what's happening around me.
Beautiful. Now you're able to be who you are.
I feel like that's been happening. I'm like, oh, I'm stepping more and more into who I really am and feeling comfortable with that person.
With who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you expressed a higher level of self-love.
I would say one of the biggest things that has disappeared is my shame. Just feeling guilty for no reason, shame about who I am, wanting to hide away.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So thanks.
You're welcome.